Hello and welcome to my reaction review of the Korra episode, New Spiritual Age. So let's get this review started. I really like the animation of the spirit world in this episode in particular. I thought at beginnings did a very nice job with their stylistic animation, but this was really beautiful to look at in the sense of Korra and not in a very highly stylized episode like such as beginnings. Uh, But with this episode, what I really liked a lot about it was the return to the library with the owl and all that. I thought that was really really cool to actually revisit that, and especially to see how the spiritual world reacts to emotions and all that, because I think that's another thing that the last Airbender series didn't really touch on or develop at all, was the rules of the spirit world. While here you kind of get a firm understanding that whatever emotion that you have, the spirit world will accommodate that emotion, if you will. And I really think that was a really cool twist on the spiritual world, and seeing how Korra reacts to it, which makes the character way more developed, in my opinion. I said, I came to this realization back in beginnings that we're finally getting to see this development with Korra, where she actually is becoming less irrational and less, gung ho about doing things, and you see her actually being relaxed and calm and approaching each problem differently. I really like that idea where we're finally seeing this character grow, and we're finally leaving this side of, oh man, she's just not learning anything. She's just making stupid mistake after mistake after mistake, and we finally get to see her not making such big mistakes. And for me, I feel like some people can blame Korra to what happens to Denora by the end of the episode, but that's not really her fault. But still, I really like that you finally get to see her grow in this episode, where we finally get to see her being less stupid, I guess, for lack of a better word. Because and here's the thing I kind of didn't like about this episode, or at least something I didn't quite understand fully, as to why she turns into a little kid in this episode. I guess it's because she feels lost, and as a little kid would, but I still feel that's kind of a stretch, because she's a young adult. She's like 17, 18 years old, and I would assume that she can kind of get the idea of, man, I lost someone, I need to find this person again. I mean, I don't know, I feel like that is this kind of a stretch, or a long way of making this thing work, but it didn't really bother me that much, because I guess it made sense in its own way, and it kind of made the episode more interesting and more entertaining, and seeing how she developed from then. So it didn't really make the episode any less great than it is, because again, it's our perfect episode, because it hit all the right notes. Especially with Denora, you kind of see how she, interprets knowledge, and how she kind of, works with what she knows, and she's more of a bookworm in comparison with her siblings. And that's, to me, way more interesting to look at, because the airbending children, I think, are kind of underused in the series. They're just used as kind of the comic relief, or just kind of, buffer zone of an episode. And finally we get to see this character acting in a dynamic way, and you're seeing her have more of a purpose than just one of Tenzin's kids. So yeah, it's nice to see her going to the spirit library. That was a lot of fun. And seeing my favorite character, the owl, come back, and he's still my favorite character by the end of this episode, even though he did piss me off. But the one thing that kind of struck me was, and I think it was intentional, that you get this kind of uneasiness where she goes to meet the owl, and the owl is just like, oh, no humans allowed, go go go, and she's like, well, what if I give you knowledge? And he's just like, even after she gives him knowledge, he's still like, just leave, I don't care. And then he's like, well, I'm here with the Avatar, and he's just like, oh, the Avatar, oh, why didn't you say so? Oh, okay. Then like after that, it was just like, that was a little too easy. And that was, it was still subtle, because you didn't notice, because for some reason it didn't occur to me as soon as he said it. It was just like, oh, okay. And then after the episode, it was like, oh, wait, that was kind of weird how happy he was. He'd be like, oh, you're with the Avatar, okay, then he flies off. Um, so he still had that villainous, creepy atmosphere, which was great. I thought that that would have been lost with this episode, but then it brought me to another question with it. Is dark spirits or spirits who are influenced by dark would have a very distinct design. I mean, just like at the Dragonfly Bunny, when he becomes a dark spirit, he has more pointy claws and all this weird stuff. And yet the owl is doing this evil thing by helping Unalaq. Yet he still looks just like a positive spirit. So that opens another idea that spirits aren't inherently evil when they give that. It's just this owl, I think, had such an indifference with light and dark that he was able to look the way he does and operate the way he does because he's just a general sense of indifference. But again, that was just I think that's just me thinking way too much about it. But it was nice to see Uncle Iroh again. The teapot. The teapot was a nice little nod to the beginning of the episode as well. I didn't expect the teapot to even be in the episode. Again, overthinking it. Yeah, I thought it was nice to see Uncle Iroh again. That was probably one of the big fan favorites of the show. But it didn't really stick that much into me. It was like, oh, cool, Uncle Iroh was here. But man, the part that really did make me get chills down my spine was this having Unalaq in this episode. I mean, for the first time, you get the true sense of hating this guy. I mean, before it was like, he's the bad guy. Take care of him, Korra. Man, he's the bad guy. And now it's just like, okay, fuck this guy. Fucking kill him. And I do agree that is such, that is an emotion that this character's been lacking. But he's also, as much as I liked that we finally get a strong hatred for this character, I still wish we knew his motive. I mean, yeah, I can argue that his motive is that he thinks that what he's doing is for the greater good by having this balance of good and evil, having the yin and yang still, happening. But, then we have Korra there that was saying, like, well, me and Juan, said that this was, no good and all that. So it's like, well, who are we going to side with? Unalaq or the Avatar? Who's, the Avatar's purpose is to maintain balance. So it kind of, already side with the Avatar side immediately. But I would still like to know, what is Unalaq's deal? Why does he really want to free Vaatu? What would he gain out of it? And we never really get a clear, distinct answer out of that. And I think that's the one thing that this show is still missing. I still don't understand his motive for it. I mean, it's like, yeah, he wants power, but like, to what extent? I mean, is it just like, oh, Vaatu promised me power and he's gonna do it, or is it? I don't know. I still don't know where it's gonna go, and I really hope it doesn't go in the very shallow, cliched route that I'm slowly starting to think it's gonna go down. But I just hope it doesn't. I hope it goes into some other route that I didn't see coming. But yeah, that's really the only thing. I mean, I thought Unalaq was a great villain. It gave you a great reason to hate him, especially especially the ending where, Jesus, man, this I didn't really expect. After Korra goes to the portals and tries to close the southern portal, just seeing Unalaq there and be like, oh well, look, I got to ignore her. I'm gonna steal her soul. It was like, Jesus, man, you're the fucking Satan. You're fucking Satan at this point, because he was instantly like, I'm gonna take her soul away. That is exactly what the devil would do in that situation. But then, after that, it was just like, after she opens the northern portal, he still goes, and then, Denora goes off with the evil dragonfly bunny, whatever. Unalaq tries to kill Korra after that. It was like, Jesus, take it easy. So yeah, I really liked that this guy was, ramping up into the evilness territory, where it was like, okay, I took Denora, okay, well, you did what I want, okay, well, I'm still gonna kill you. That was really cool about that entire scene. But I still want motive. I still want more development with this character, because right now he's just still so black and white, and I want that gray area that was so perfect, and that's not him. But overall, the episode was really great. It was really one of my favorite episodes, and the ending, Jesus. the ending was great. I really loved it, especially the facial animations with between Korra and Tenzin were just great. Where he's like, "What happened to? Why is you waking up?" And all this. It was just so instantly. It ended with such a great moment of silence where it was just all she said was, "I'm sorry," and then "What happened to my little girl?" And then that's where it ends. I thought that was the best way to end it. Otherwise, it would have been. Yeah, I just the one thing that this episode kind of made me think of is the next week's episode is probably gonna suck again because so much happened in this episode that I don't care about Varric anymore. I don't care about this conspiracy with him. I don't care about Asami. I don't care about Bolin. I don't care about Mako anymore. I just don't care about the Republic City arc anymore. I just want to know what happens next in this arc. So I have a feeling next week's episode is probably gonna go back down to the weak territory because I feel that it's gonna focus a little bit more on the Republic City conspiracy. I just don't want it to do that. I just want to see what happens. But hopefully it has a nice balance. But yeah, this episode was a great episode. I give it a perfect 10. There was nothing wrong with this episode at all. So I give it 2 thumbs up. If you still have yet to see this episode, I just spoiled everything. So sorry. See you next week, I guess.